Okay, time for some man time. When you read monotheistic principles, doctrines, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, etc., the one thing that most people misunderstand and skim over is that every figurehead in the Bible was a businessman, well off, rich, wealthy. I know. Even those who had given up the worldly goods to go on their quest for self. Or maybe they worked their way up from nothing, but they were all men of means. They were also all men of principles, moral compass, good character. Yeah. You see, most of us, we lack reading comprehension. We read shit, which then means if we're not comprehending it, we're only skimming words, which then means we don't know what the fuck we're reading because we don't know what the words mean, which means we lack understanding. And because we lack understanding, you lack more than understanding, you lack a way. I know. It means you're just aimlessly zombified, walking throughout life, knowing nothing and doing everything that means nothing. That means no purpose. I know. You see, Moses was a slave child, but he was raised up under the Pharaoh, which means rich, wealthy. And then he took his riches and wealth, or his status, his name from the Pharaoh, and he went into other lands and built himself up and came back to free his people. I know. It's like being able to build yourself up to where you can buy your people away, but most of us don't understand when we skim these words like that. Jesus was rich. In fact, Jesus is a direct descendant of Boaz, who was also a rich man. And whether we know it or not, Joseph was the carpenter, which means he had his own business. I know. It's why they said when Jesus went into his own home, land, and country, he owned it. Yeah. It was a part of his lineage. He was a direct descendant of it. It then means that not only was Jesus not a poor man, but he was also well educated, well traveled, well versed, things of that nature. That comes with a little bit of knowledge, not just knowledge of self, but also of how things work. You see, I say all of this to say this. Most of you think that your father's inheritance goes directly to you just because you were born. And you are partly right, but you are mostly wrong. We understand this way because our mothers teach us this way. And then because our mothers teach us this way, whether we are male or female, we grow up and then we teach our children the same bullshit. You see, one of the things that you will notice in all of those monotheistic religions, all of the wealthy fathers chose who they gave their inheritance to. If they had multiple children, they chose which son to give the inheritance to. Most of them were robbed and swindled out of it, but they still nonetheless wanted to choose. This means you automatically, by birthright, RITE, inherit your life from your father. You are sperm. Sperm is a living cell, a living organism. You were living before you were in your mother. So when your mother pushed you out, or you were taken out of your mother into the world, you were already alive. You were already alive. You had already been programmed from your father's DNA. But your father's worldly goods he had to work for, or he had to work to keep. This is why men chose who they gave their inheritance to. If you give your child something that they don't know how to manage and maintain, they'll squander it, they'll lose it. If you give your child something that they work hard to help you maintain, not only do they deserve it, but it's actually theirs because they've worked for it. Yeah, I know. This is why when the prodigal son left, he took his portion. He didn't do anything wrong. He worked for it. It's why when the good servants got their portion and they flipped it, they got given a portion. But the one who buried the money, he got excommunicated, emancipated, pushed out. He was a bad servant because he thought emotionally versus logically. He thought about what he felt, not about what he was taught. I know. And what happened with the prodigal son was the same thing. He went off and did what he was taught for someone who did him wrong, as opposed to him honestly respecting his father and staying there. So he came back to his father and he said, "Make me as one of your servants, not your son. Let me earn my way." When the other son got jealous, he said, "Son, all that I have is yours." But most of you read these things or don't read these things, but either way, you don't understand it. Therefore, when your father has something, he's not supposed to buy you clothes and shoes and shit like that. And just because you were born, he's supposed to make sure you have means. What type of means? You don't decide. He does. If he has wealth, your mother teaches you that it's automatically yours because you were born, because your mother gives you presents, not purpose. Your father gives you purpose. If your father is a plumber and that's how he makes his money, he'll teach you to do plumbing. If he's a mechanic and he makes his money doing that, he'll teach you mechanics so that you can live. He'll teach you how to fish versus giving you fish. Your mother will give you fish versus teaching you how to fish. So your father gives you purpose and your mother gives you presents. I know most of you will never understand this. This is why you think your father owes you something, even when you don't give gratitude, appreciation. You think you're entitled to things. This is also why when you're disobedient and you're rebellious, you think you're still supposed to get love. I know. That's not how that works. And last but not least, when your mother teaches you to do what she does to your father and she disrespects and rebels against your father, she teaches you to disrespect and rebel against your father. You think that because you are a child that they are supposed to see the physical build of you. No, your mindset is rebellious and disrespectful. So if he doesn't like your mother, as long as you are doing what your mother does, he's not going to like you. The only difference between your mother and you is that you come from him. So he may leave a door open for you to change, repent. Yeah. He may be willing to forgive you, but he doesn't owe you anything. Whereas he may not be willing to forgive your mother because she doesn't come from him. She got her own daddy. And if she rebelled against her own daddy and rebelled against your daddy, it means that's who she is as a person, as a human being. And if she doesn't deserve your daddy, she doesn't deserve her daddy, she doesn't deserve you either. Spectators don't deserve participation trophies. And they definitely don't deserve creators. But what do I know? I've only helped squander my father's wealth. And then when my mind came to me, it prompted me to start building my own. Repenting to my father. And until next time, man time out.